Class 9, let's continue with the story Hearts and Hands. Fine. So, yesterday we read that the two passengers entered into the train. Clear? They sat in front of a lady. The two young men were handcuffed together. So, the lady knew one of the passengers. She started talking to him. Clear? He slightly raised his right hand, bound at the wrist by the shining bracelet, to the left one of his companions. So the man, what was the name of that man who's the acquaintance of that lady? Mr. Easton. And the ladies were Mrs. Fairchild. Fine. So the he clasped her finger with his left hand and said, "Excuse me for the right one. It is engaged at present." So he raised his right hand. That was composed. That was bound at the wrist by the shining bracelet. Was the bracelet handcuff? Clear? To the left one of his companion. The glad look in the girl's eyes slowly changed to bewildered horror. Now, suddenly, the happy look, the glad look that was there on the face of that girl after seeing her acquaintance over there, when she saw that handcuffed with the other man, her happiness changed into bewildered horror. The glow faded from her cheeks. Suddenly, the pinkish tinge, the pinkish glow that was there on her face, suddenly it died away. It faded from her cheeks. Her lips parted in a vague, relaxing distress. Her lips was parted. She was a little bit distressed. Why? Because her acquaintance was handcuffed with someone. Eston, with a little laugh, as if amused, was about to speak again when the other forestalled him. The gloom faced man had been watching the girl's countenance with veiled glances from his keen, shrewd eyes. Now, suddenly, the Mr. Easton, he was about to speak something. Clear, suddenly, the next man, clear, who was a gloom faced man with whom Mr. Eston was handcuffed, he interrupted because he had seen the expressions in the girl's eyes and he wanted to save Mr. Easton from the embarrassment. So he intervened and said, "You will excuse me for speaking, miss, but I see you are acquainted with the marshal here." So the next man said to Mrs. Easton, "You will excuse me for speaking, but I think that you know with the marshal here." He introduced Mr. Easton as a marshal, as a police officer. "If you will ask him to speak a word for me when we get to the pen, he will do it, and it will make things easier for me there. He is taking me to the Leavenworth prison. It is for 7 years. It is 7 years for counterfeiting." So he said, if you will ask him to speak a word for me when we will go to the pen, जब हम जाएंगे, if you will ask him, then he can speak. It will be suitable for me. But let me introduce you. He is a marshal. I am a culprit. He is taking me to the Leavenworth prison for 7 years for counterfeiting. Counterfeiting means imitating someone's signatures, right? "Oh," said the girl with a deep breath and returning color. "So that is what you are doing here, a marshal." So now the girl was relaxed. Chalo, at least her friend was a marshal. He was not a culprit. So she take a deep breath of relax and said, "Oh, so that is what you are doing here. You are a marshal here." "My dear Miss Fairchild," said Easton calmly, "I had to do something. Money has a way of taking wings unto itself, and you know it takes money to keep step with our crowd in Washington." So Mr. Easton, now he is also relaxed, said, "Yes, Miss Fairchild, you know that I had to do something because money spends very quickly. Money is having a tendency to spend itself very quickly, and you know that in order to keep with the crowd, in order to have our living properly, we need money. I saw this opening in the West, and well, marshalship isn't quite as high as a position of that of ambassador." उसने कहा, "Okay, and you know, I saw this opening. ये marshal की opening थी, job थी यहाँ पे West में. I accepted that, though it is not as high position as that of ambassador. But the ambassador," said the girl warmly, "doesn't call any more. He need not ever have done so." Now the girl, she was very much impressed with Mr. Easton. "Oh, don't talk about ambassador. His job is not adventurous. Clear? He has never done so much. Has it done by Marshall? You ought to know that. And so now you are one of these dashing Western heroes, and you ride and shoot and go in all kind of dangers. Like now you are like a Western hero. You go on a ride, you shoot, clear. You face all kind of danger. That's different from the Washington's life, and your life here is quite different from your life in Washington. You have been missed from the old crowd. People will in Washington, people will miss you. The girl's eye, fascinated, went back, widening a little to rest upon the glittering handcuff. The girl, once again, her eye fell on the handcuffs. She looked at the handcuffs, clear. Don't you worry about them, miss, said the other man. All the marshals handcuff themselves to their prisoner to keep them from getting away. Mr. Easton knows his business. So the next person, the gloom-faced man, he said, "Oh, don't be worried about these handcuffs. All the policemen, they handcuffed themselves to the prisoner so that the prisoner could not run away. That's why he has handcuffed me to him." "Will we see you again in Washington?" asked the girl. The girl asked, "Will we able to see you in Washington?" "Not soon, I think, Mr. Easton. My butterfly days are over." So Mr. Easton said, "Not soon. I think I'm afraid that my free days are gone now." "I love the West," said the girl irrelevantly. Now the girl did not listen to what he was saying. She said, "I love the West." Her eyes were shining softly. She looked away out of the car window. She began to speak truly and simply without the gloss of style and manner. "Mama and I spent summer in Denver. She went back home a week ago before because father was slightly ill. I could live and be happy in the West. I think the air here agrees with me. Money isn't everything, but people will always misunderstand things and remain stupid." Now this shows something about Miss Fairchild character. She thinks about herself only. She said, "Ki, Mama and I spent some of the days here. Then father got ill. Mama went back. I stayed here." And this shows a selfish attitude. She doesn't think about anybody else. "Say, Mr. Marshall," growled the gloom-faced man, "this isn't quite fair. I'm needing a drink and haven't had a smoke all day. Haven't you talked long enough? Take me to smoker now, won't you? I'm half dead for pipe." So till now, the other gloom-faced man with whom Mr. Easton was handcuffed, he interrupted. "Mr. "Oh, that's not very good. I haven't had a smoke for a long time. Come, take me for smoking. I think you have talked long enough." Bye, because he could not handle the situation for more clear for a longer period of time, so he wanted to depart from there. The bound traveler rose to their feet, Easton with the same slow smile on his face. So they got up from the seat. I can't deny a petition for tobacco," he said lightly. "It's the one friend of the unfortunate. Goodbye, Miss Fairchild. Duty calls, you know." He held out his hand for a farewell, so he took farewell from Miss Fairchild. He's like, "I can't deny the request for tobacco. Unfortunate लोगों के लिए यही एक friend है." Yeah, so he said, "Goodbye, Miss Fairchild." He bade farewell. He held out his hand for a farewell. "It's too bad you are not going east," she said, reclothing herself with manner style. "But you must go on to Leavenworth, I suppose." So girl was like, "It's very sad that you are not going to east, but I think you are going to Leavenworth." "Yes," said Easton, "I must go on to Leavenworth." The two men sidled down the easel into the smoker. So the two of these people, they went into the smoker. The two passengers in a seat nearby had heard most of the conversation. Now what happened? The two more passengers who were sitting by their side, they were listening to the conversation. Said one of them, "The marshal is a good sort of chap. Some of these western fellows are all right." So one of the passengers said, "Yeah, this marshal is quite handsome." Clear? Some of the western fellows, they are very good. Pretty young, hold to an office to like pretty young to hold an office like that, isn't he?" asked the other passenger asked. "Don't you think that he's pretty young? He's quite young to have the responsibility of marshal." "Young?" exclaimed the first speaker. "Why? Oh, didn't you catch on?" Then the first speaker said, "Young? Oh, didn't you watch? Didn't you notice? Say, did you did you ever know an officer to handcuff to a prisoner to his right hand? Say, have you ever seen any officer who handcuffed to the prisoner to his right hand? Oh, that man, the young fellow, he's not a marshal, he's a prisoner." So children, this is all about the story. The rest of it, theme and all, we will discuss tomorrow. So go through the story. And if you have any problem, you may ask. Thank you.